Hi, good afternoon. Mike.
Oh, wow, VIP Kids, so successful, so fast. Share with everybody your story. How did the idea for VIP Kids start? And just give a little bit of that background.
Absolutely. I'd like to start maybe welcoming everyone from overseas. It's a very, very long flight. I felt almost like in San Diego or Salt Lake City. This is great. So the story of VIP Kid. So the business model or product service we're offering is to connect North American teachers with children in China and of course beyond. So every day there are over 100,000 classes happening. Those are 25 minutes live streaming, one-on-one, like video, audio, like content sharing sessions. Very exciting for the kids. So they feel like they're visiting their friends, talking to someone very exciting from the other end of the world. And so that's the business model. And we're, I would say, a global company from day one, since we've been working since today, over 30,000 North American teachers. And we've been working with 200,000 kids in Asia in general, mostly in China. So very recent, very excited update about the market, I guess, would be a data that we have on 11th of November, which is the Singles Day. I think in a day, our team has achieved $24 million sales revenue, which means how much parents would appreciate the business model sending their kids to VIP Kid to learn with us. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, amazing. But go back. So when you started VIP Kids, give your background, because obviously you kind of grew up in the business, so to speak, but then you had this new idea for what VIP Kids could be about using technology. So tell everybody what kind of your background.
Okay, so I'm an English teacher, and that's the reason I started VIP Kid. But also, more importantly, I was an unsuccessful math learner. It's another story. So for the past 20 years, I've been in English for education for the kids, and I started teaching young kids when I was 15 years old in 1998. So I was 15, and it's really fun to teach the kids, and I've been running a brick and mortar training company since then. But the challenge there was we don't have enough global teachers in Beijing or in China, 27,000 from North America, and parents would love to have the best teachers, right? So when I looked at my teacher roster working with my previous company, I felt so sad because I wasn't able to provide quality education. And secondly, more importantly, as an unsuccessful math learner, I was kicked out of the classroom by my middle school math teacher. And I deserved it because I was reading science fiction, math class. So that has so much impact on me because I thought then, how can I be successful? I lost all my confidence in learning. But later on, when I'm a teacher, I understand more of the teacher's perspective. The teacher cannot possibly offer personalized learning for 50 or 60 kids in a classroom. So then I thought, then why don't I do a VIP Kid so that by technology, we can make connectivity possible, and more importantly, along the way, personalized learning possible.
I think probably everybody at this point knows what a unicorn is, but VIP Kids became a unicorn with its most recent financing, and Cindy has become the first female CEO of a unicorn education technology company, which is quite remarkable. Talk about just the growth, and growth is great, but this it presents a lot of different challenges. So talk about some of the issues you've had as you had this remarkable growth over the last 4 or 5 years.
Right. Challenges, there are always challenges. So from the very beginning, the challenges is more about having the market, both parents and also, of course, investors acknowledging this is something useful. It has tremendous customer value. Trying to convince everyone is challenging. And then, of course, the later stage with the growth is always the challenge on scale and quality. How can we improve the quality while we're keeping up this great growth? So the first part, I think when we started about 4 years ago, we spent the first year and a half actually convincing the market, or more precisely, wait for the market to understand or to acknowledge what we're doing. So out of 10 parents, 9 would say, this is hard, this is not possible. Then out of 10 investors, 9.5 would not want to talk about us with the idea. But then since March 2015, by then we had about 20 teachers and 200 students. That's all we had 2.5 years ago. But then I think the market began to grow, the momentum started to pick up, and then I think the previous years of all the hard work from folks in the whole MOOC world, MOOC, really helped educating parents on how online learning can be effective, and also VIPKID team making this product possible and presenting it to parents and having them see how happy their kids are learning, how effective it is really helpful too. And then at the current stage, I think our team is always being focused on quality while we're maintaining scale. So we want to make sure that no matter how fast or how slow we grow, quality is always the most important thing. That's a culture that is embedded in the VIPKID team.
So this recent financing that made you a unicorn, you had Sequoia and Tencent as the lead investors. And Tencent obviously is a host of this conference. How have they been so far? What's the sort of the synergy with Tencent as an investor? How do you see the future working out there?
Yeah, great. So for both Tencent and Sequoia Global, right? I think Tencent has been great. We've been working with Dawson very closely, and he sent us a greeting video on our financing press release day. And for very small things, we were always bugging him for advice or assistance, and also he's been leveraging the Tencent technology so that we're very important, I think, member on the cloud service that they're offering, which education is a very key for the next step of Tencent Cloud, because of all the data that we work together can collect from the services and the product we provide, and also the AI teams in Tencent through all these other sectors, industries, has really inspired us a lot more on how AI can be helpful in education. And then for Sequoia, I think it's a very interesting topic too. So recently the round is led by Sequoia China and US, so Global One Fund. Their first company investing in China is Toutiao. So it's an AI company, right? And the second company is VIPKID. So we've been talking to a lot of folks from Sequoia US. Met with Alfred Lin recently. He was a former COO, CFO from Zappos.com. Cross-industry or cross-sector advices or experiences, I think is really insightful and helpful. For a lot of things, I think we've been trying to figure out, they've figured out in commerce or in global business models. So I think with Tencent and Sequoia Global, we'll be able to leverage global knowledge and global technology, and also cross industry ideas, so that we can make education better.
Expand more on this concept of learning from other successful companies and other industries, and then porting that over to how it can help VIPKids grow and some of the challenges you face.
I think one of the most challenging thing about education is talent. Everyone is in e-commerce. Everyone is in all these other industries, right? But if we can have more talents from other industries, I think the experiences and insights they've accumulated over the years will be really helpful. One example, we recently had on board a head for our service team, and he previously worked with JD.com. So he recently organized a trip for 10 of us to visit Suqian and to see how advanced services are delivered in e-commerce. Then what he said when he came on board was many of the things we've already figured out what to do 5 years ago, and then we're still doing all these manual works or inefficient ways of delivering product and services. So all those insights cannot be generated, or it's very hard to generate from the industry within, but I think it'd be really helpful to have all these knowledge shared and experiences shared.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point. Talk about how VIPKids helps empower everybody from students to adults to help them participate in the future.
That's a great question. I think the most challenging thing I would see in learning or education is, or opportunity also, is personalized learning, right? So from the student side, I think what VIPKID will be able to do, we're working on it, is to empower the kids by inspiring and empowering every child for the future. So that cannot be done without personalized learning. And that cannot be done without bringing down costs of education across demographics or geographics over the long run. So to empower the kid and inspire the kid, I think it's the best to have them see the future and see the world, and then they're motivated by themselves to learn and explore. And then I think by education, by online education, this will be much more possible or feasible than it is with brick and mortar setting. So that's for the students. And then for the teachers, I think every teacher has two things that are very, very important to them. I'm one of the teachers, so I thought I would know something. Firstly is they all have a global education dream. In China, we always say, 桃李满天下. It doesn't make sense. It means like...
I always say that too.
You're a tree that grows fruits, you want all these seeds to be spread across the globe, so that you're the origin of all these great ideas, moments, like people you can inspire, so they can do great things, right? So I think a lot of American or Canadian teachers want their students to be a global student profile, and they cannot do it without online education, right? So I think it really helps address that pain point. They can help children across the globe. And not only on the for-profit business we're doing, but on the non-profit arm, we've been collaborating with Jack Ma Foundation. This September, we're in 100 rural schools. I was personally doing a tutor TA work in a school for the morning, like 3 weeks ago in Chengdu, and they inspired me on how these kids, their family income is probably less than like $1,000 a year. That they are able to see the lives of teacher Jenny from Florida, and then get inspired on what kind of person they want to be. So I think on the non-for-profit arm, we're also able to empower every child more and more children, like for the future, right? And then for the teachers, I think that's the pain point to help them do this global education dream. Second thing is more income and more advancement in their career. So we've always talking about like not that many people want to become teachers. Many of them want to become teachers, but then they probably don't want to do it until they retire. So we're talking to a few like banker people in San Francisco, and then one subordinate talked to the boss and said, "Oh, we all want to be teachers, so being teacher is great." And then the boss said, "No, not until I retire. Don't want to do it now." Teachers make like $30,000, $40,000 US a year, right? So more income will be very significant for their families. And then I was in Vegas just last week talking to 5-hour teachers, and they said Nevada is letting go a lot of the teachers, and it's so hard on the family. On the already hardened life. So I think to empower them more would not only mean to help them realize this global education dream, more income, and also along the way, more efficiency would then allow them to have higher income. And then if they had higher income, what if the average income is not 30,000, 40,000, instead 60,000 and 80,000, right? So more teachers will probably want to become a teacher, and then helping in return, students will learn better. So I would probably call it a new American dream for the teachers.
Yeah, that's fabulous. You mentioned the Jack Ma Foundation. He started his career as an English teacher, right?
Yes, that's right.
Amazing. When you talk, there's so many kind of mind.
And also he started getting inspired from a family in Australia. Yeah. As a kid, he was trying to talk to every foreigner he can find by the West Lake when he was like 10 years old, I guess. Yeah. Heard about that story.
Well, there's a bunch of kind of mind-bending statistics associated with VIP kids and the scale and the growth and so forth. But one statistic that you shared with me before, talk about sort of the supply or the number of teacher applicants that VIP kids gets a month, and talk about how you kind of vet those and help them be successful.
Every month there are about 100,000 teachers that apply to the teaching opportunity at VIPKID platform. So that's a lot of teachers, and we admit 5% of the teachers. We always feel that we need to work on better in the conversion, because then we would be helping more teachers become great VIPKID teachers, because two challenges are, one, if they are from North America, they talk really fast, and it's very distracting for the students to focus and learn because they can't understand most of the talk, and those are not necessary for the teaching. And secondly, to teach online is a very, very different thing. You're in front of the screen and you're supposed to be very animated and interesting, and that's very challenging, right? But I think those are the challenges. If we overcome, we can help more teachers be successful, because I think love and compassion is not trainable, but skills are. Those are more of the professional training development kind of thing. And secondly, I think we've always built up a great teacher community. Our teachers are our people. So everywhere I traveled, I try to meet with the teachers. I was traveling in Marrakesh, Morocco 2 weeks ago. So who has been to Morocco? It's my first time. Oh, there are people who've been to Morocco before. Great. I found a teacher in Marrakesh, and she's so surprised. She's like, I've never met anyone from VIPKID, and now I just moved from San Francisco to Morocco a few months ago, came to meet with you. So this is exciting for us, and now we have about over 50 teacher initiated meetups everywhere across the country in each state. So these range from 30 people to 300 people. It's really exciting, and we always visit them if we have time to. And our goal is to really empower teachers by helping them, helping their job easier, and help them everything to be successful.
So people think of VIPKIDs as using North American teachers to teach Chinese students English. Talk about the Lingo Bus and sort of your global aspirations for expanding your business.
Absolutely. So we just launched the Lingo Bus a couple months ago, and I think it's a great way to build a global classroom for the kids, because if children are learning Mandarin on our platform, later on they can be this new an era pen pal with their counterparts in China. I think it'd be really fun. And then to leverage the technology platform that would be built over the years would be really helpful for Lingo Bus. And the first day of launch, we received 5,000 teacher applicants. Many of them are parents, and many of them work for the media, and everyone has a dream to share the great culture of China to the world as well, right? And just making two of the largest economies connect better in the future. And then talking about the global plan, I think North American teachers are adored and loved in many parts of the world, not just in China. So today we have students from 35 countries, although the other 34 countries only account for 2% of our student portfolio. But I think it's really fun, because if you check out our parents' app, you will see some of the comments written in Japanese, thanks to Google Tencent translation. We used to use other translation apps. Everyone can view those comments from parents, and teachers can see them too. So my dream is to build this global classroom for the kids, leveraging technology. So wherever they are, they could be in the Atlas Mountains of Morocco, or they can be in this Palm Spring place is it in Nevada? California, right? I need to learn my geography knowledge. But wherever they are, they can leverage technology and meet with all the other kids across the world, and meet with all the other teachers in the world, and then they can start learning and love the world, and be very efficacious in their learnings, and be the person they want to be. So Lingo Bus to us is just a start in our globalization effort, and also with all the teachers from North America, we'll be able to help kids in more countries and regions in the future.
I know you got thousands of stories of what VIPKIDs has done for students and their parents' excitement and so forth. Tell us your favorite story with VIPKIDs that you have so far.
Okay, so one from the students, one from the teachers.
Okay, great.
Right, so one of my favorite stories for the student is one of our teachers was traveling in China, and then she's visiting Yiheyuan, and then the Summer Palace. And then a kid approached her with a 10 RMB and said, I really want a US dollar. I think she should give her two. But then the teacher gave her a US dollar, and then wrote her name on it, and draw a little heart, I think, on that note. They shouldn't, I guess, on a currency. But about a month later, that teacher opens her camera. Okay, imagine, I think that she's in Utah or somewhere, middle of the night, 3 a.m. There goes that student with a dollar note. It's a miracle, right? Because that student see that heartiness orange thing, like and no, she's a VIP kid teacher. And then she signed up. She remembers her name, so she searched in our database out of our 30,000 American teachers. She booked that teacher's class, and the moment the teacher saw her, her eyes are like joyful tears. Right? I think it's just a miracle of how people are connected. And my story about the teacher, I think it's one of the stories. I met with the teachers in Vegas, and one of the teachers wrote me a letter. It's a 2-pager. And then she told me her story. She said, I have 4 kids, so my 13-year-old always look after my 2-year-old when I go to bed at 9:30 p.m. because she needs to wake up at 3 a.m. to teach the classes. It's amazing how 13-year-old take care of the 2-year-old. And also she said, because it's been years and I haven't paid my student loan yet. Because of the job of VIPKID, we just paid off my student loan. And I was even able to take a few trips with my family out of Las Vegas this year, and we're able to afford a second car, a van, because of all the kids. I really need that. So I think that's another story that I really love as well.
Those are great. So VIPKID is an education company, but you're a technology company. So talk about how you're using artificial intelligence and machine learning to deliver your service, and how you think it evolves over time. What's your vision for that in the future?
I think the future is to be able to provide personalized learning for the students, and also augment or empower the teachers to do the job better because of the power of the data. So talking about how we're doing it now, every day we have over 100,000 classes. So it's a lot of classes and a lot of data. Tencent Cloud must be very happy. We're putting all the data on their cloud services. And then it's 100 terabyte a month. And it's all very confidential, private in the cloud, and we have like a data team to run that. And then all these data are unprecedented, like learning data from a student-teacher interaction and also content interaction. So by leverage all that, we are really focused on learning science and then see how we can best use that. So a couple of systems that we've already pushed to our system. One is intelligent teaching system, where we can show their, allow teachers to know their student better before the class or in the class, so that they can teach better. And then another thing is to design this teacher-student matching better. So students with different learning styles and teacher with different teaching styles can be working together more efficiently. So there are a lot of things we can do along the way on the whole personalized learning endeavor, and I would say we're just starting.
So let's still keep on this track of the future. So as you think about learning talent and how you develop people, what additional roles do you see VIPKID playing in terms of that ability to really have people get to have the talent, knowledge they need to be effective in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think talents are twofold. One is the kids, and the other are the teachers, right? So for teachers, it's more professional development. For the kids, it's more of how they get prepared for the future. And in that topic, we strongly believe that a few keywords. One is it's a social cultural learning powered by data, right? So and we are social culture learning with both content and teachers from everywhere. And then connectivity is another interesting topic. I think with AI or online learning made possible that this global brain can possibly in place in the future, where everyone's learning, everyone's teaching, and this is such a connected learning universe, you would say, and then create this very interesting and in a LinkedIn term on economic graph for the future. I think those are very, very exciting opportunities as well. And then I think with the teachers' development, it would be make much more efficient, and also not only in their learnings, but also in how they carry out their work every day, more empowered. And the student, I think, needed to say it's personalized learning, empowered by all these engines that we've been working on.
So what are the greatest lessons you've learned the 4 years that you've been running VIPKID?
Actually, it's a very, very simple word and a simple fact. I think it just goes back to the fundamentals. It's word of mouth. So those are the biggest lesson I've learned during the 4 years. But for the first year and a half, we don't have any students, right? We're proving the business model, trying to build up everything. But then we focused on quality, and then the later growth, I think, is driven by the quality service. So every month, our new students, 70% come from existing students' referrals, almost 70, and similar data with our teachers. And recently, we've been focusing on employee happiness, so we want our team, 5,000 of them, feel very happy and empowered working every day. So I think it's a very simple truth of referral virality. I think it's a term in the whole growth community in San Francisco. I've been really recently talking to one of the growth guy in Uber, and he shared with me this new term that I haven't learned in education before. But it's a very simple truth of a word of mouth. So if your product and service has true value to its users, its service providers, and everyone else participating in that initiative, I think it would drive itself forward.
So you are a hero to many young entrepreneurs in the educational ecosystem. Talk about what kind of things are you doing to help entrepreneurs? And also, what things are you seeing that you think are pretty exciting?
Yes, I think you and Deborah has been doing this for many years in education, bringing all these great efforts, and Tao has been tremendous amount of work during the past years. I'm the first batch Future Star camp students, and then so Tencent, I think, as a great company, has done that. I was also the first training camp student from Tencent as well, called Qinteng, from a few years ago. So I think what I've been doing recently is just if people reach out to me, always make sure that I have some time for them. I probably cannot meet, but if they send me 10 questions, I can always use the powerful WeChat to go over these in a voice sort of mail kind of manner, which I hope can be helpful and not misleading. And then and other things like if I were invited to GSV, and I'm always there, right? And the same really, my great honor and pleasure, actually. I think you and Deborah sort of saw us start to grow. You didn't know that. I don't know if you think we're going to grow this fast during the past 2 years, but since San Diego, we've been growing very exponentially, and we didn't before. So we're really thankful for your sort of seeing the potential of the team and acknowledge that. And then, so I would love to do the same for the community. If there's anything that VIPKID or me can personally be helpful, we would love to be helpful. And I think all these can help lift like the standard of the industry, can help us do better work. And I think that's why everyone is here in the room. We're here for the kids, right? So we really, and the teachers, really want to make sure that the education industry hasn't really changed in the past 200 years. So with all these exponentially technology that can make a big difference, if we are given this opportunity, it's a privilege, how in this era, I think it's almost like e-commerce in 2000 or like the eBay times or Alibaba times, Taobao times. What are we going to do to make it a better place? I think it's a great topic to explore, and I would love to do to help.
So who are your heroes or companies that you admire? And as you think about VIP-Kids, and you think, this is that's sort of an aspiration to learn from the success. Who do you look at?
I think growing up, I always admire Li Jiacheng. I think it's more personal learning experience because he didn't go to high school. He worked with his uncle doing plastic kind of industry work, and he just keeps learning and growing. That he still reads 30 minutes a day. Today, right? So that's a very inspiring story for me. But recently, I think I've been so inspired by Todd Rowe's book, The End of Average, and I think that just resonated with me so much. Not only because Todd dropped out of school, also at high school, but also because of the strong point that he has in why the world cannot be standardized anymore. We need to really use technology to make personalized learning possible, so that we can have a better future. So that he's my latest role model.
Last question. if you were to give, we have a bunch of entrepreneurs in the audience, if you were to give one bit of advice to an entrepreneur who's starting their education technology business, what advice would you give them?
Yep, I would want to share our value from the VIPKID team. I think it's really helpful for us personally. One is student at the core. The second is fighting spirit at heart, right? Because let me explain a little bit more. So, 10 seconds, good. Student at core is because whatever we do, parents, teachers, us as tech entrepreneurs, we want the same thing. We want the best for the kids, right? So if we can always think that, we can be imperfect, and everyone would want to help us making it more perfect. And there's no perfect, right? Because there's no perfection, because you can always be 10 times better than you are today, given different time, stage, and company, era, and historical moments. Secondly, fighting spirit at the core. If you think about the whole edtech space, or specifically children's online learning English space, 2 years or 3 years, we're through the whole 20 years experience for e-commerce, getting to, in China, 10% online penetrations. So it does not allow us to do things slowly anymore. So we really need to have the fighting spirit heart and making sure we always have the best, the most aggressive goals, or challenge our teams and everyone to think very differently. And even if you're the first one in your industry, you should still think compared to leaders in other industries, we're 10 years behind, and how we can address that and how we can really solve these problems. So finally, if you guys have any talents that you can recommend to our teams in growth, AI, everything, we welcome a conversation. So
terrific. Thank you so much. Please give her a hand.